PRANA VAYU. In different yogic texts, the pranas are enumerated as 2, 3, 5, 6, 10, or even more, depending upon various considerations. This is because the one prana works in various ways and on various levels. Each of these classifications has its own value and its own limitation. The pranas are most commonly referred to as two as prana and apana, which in yoga relate to inhalation and exhalation. Pranayama and the arising of the kundalini are said to occur through the union of prana and apana in the navel. In Vedic texts, prana is said to build up the mind and nerves, while apana builds up the body and bones. We could say that the mind is a product of prana, while the physical body is a product of apana. This means that apana is not simply a negative force as a power of elimination, but a positive force that creates physical matter as well. This is not just a matter of the connection of apana with the process of reproduction, though this is part of it. Relative to the breath, prana is oxygen, mainly feeds the brain and mind, while the body and living tissue in general consists mainly of carbon-based minerals that relate to apana. The prime blood circulation which carries prana is to the brain, while the food that is digested, of which apana governs the culminating stage in the large intestine, is mainly carbon-based. The positive side of apana in the body is the bodily tissues, particularly their most subtle tissue, the reproductive one, which has the power to create new life. The negative side of apana is the urine and feces eliminated from the body. In this regard, apana builds the dhatus, of which ojas is the last product. The connection of positive apana and ojas is an important consideration in yoga and ayurveda. Apana is the dominant prana at the physical level and should be targeted as such in treating physical diseases. It is also responsible for absorbing the prana or the energy from the food. It builds up the bones through its connection to the large intestine. In Ayurveda, most diseases are owing to vata, which in turn are owing to apana, that governs vata's side of accumulation in the physical body. Prana, meanwhile, governs the mind, senses, and brain, and the subtle forces of prana, tejas and ojas. This means that we must have a good, strong, and balanced apana vayu in order to practice pranayama in the best possible manner. Otherwise, there is the danger that we may become ungrounded or vata deranged from pranayama practice. A good apana means good ojas and proper nutrition. This serves as the vessel to attract and hold the prana gained in pranayama. Additional pranas. Sometimes vyana or samana are added in yogic texts as a third prana, governing retention of breath. Sometimes udana is added relative to inhalation or speech instead of prana. And in some texts, apana is divided into two pranas as avana, or the downward moving prana, and apana, or the outward moving prana. These are just further diversifications of the functions of prana. In yet another yoga texts, all the 5 pranas are discussed in details, just as in Ayurveda. All the sense organs, including the eyes, ears, and even the mind, are often called pranas in yogic texts. In the Upanishads, there is a common story about how the different faculties of the body argue among themselves over which among them is the best. It is prana that wins the argument because without it, all the other faculties die. As prana rules the mind and senses, it has priority in yogic practice. PRANA VAYU is a diffusive force. Physical location is in the heart and lips, pervades body. The physical function is movement and circulation, and the subtle function is mental circulation and expansion. Udana Vayu is ascending force. Physically is in the throat and upper chest. The physical function is speech, exhalation, and growth. Subtle function is aspiration, mental growth, enthusiasm, and effort. Prana Vayu is inward moving. Physically is the heart and the brain. The physical function is swallowing, inhalation, sensory perception, and the subtle function is mental energization and receptivity. Samana Vayu is equalizing. It's in the navel area, takes care about the digestion and metabolism, and on the subtle level, it is a mental digestion and homeostasis. Apana Vayu is descending force. It's below the navel, takes care about the elimination and reproduction, and on the subtle level, it's a mental elimination and also immunity. Some efforts have been made to correlate the 5 pranas with the 5 elements, and these may be accurate in various ways. However, we must remember that these 5 pranas, 5 vayus, are all diversifications of the air element. They are also connected to the subtle air element, the tanmatra or sensory quality of touch, and the guna of rajas. In addition, the air element is always connected to the ether element. We could say that air is space in motion, while space is air at the condition of rest. This means that the pranas relate to spatial and directional influences and to the subtle ether element, the tanmatra or sensory quality of sound, and to the guna of sattva as well. The 5 pranas are common to all the elements, organs, koshas, and functions of the mind. They serve to energize and to connect our activities on all levels. Prana is the energizing and linking force in the universe on all levels. It has both a vertical and horizontal connecting movement. Relative to the 5 pranas, prana brings about energization, samana provides nutrition, apana is responsible for elimination, vyana governs circulation, udana provides for effort and the capacity to work. For example, on the physical level, prana is responsible for eating food, samana for digesting it, vyana circulates the nutritions to all the tissues, apana eliminates the waste material from the food, and udana allows us to use the energy derived from the food for physical work. On the level of the mind, prana is responsible for the intake of impressions and ideas. Samana digests them. Vyana circulates this information. Apana removes the waste material, which is negative thoughts and emotions, and udana allows us to do positive mental work and exertion. On a general level, prana energizes all the koshas. Samana sustains their relationship, cohesion, and balance. Apana brings energy down the koshas from the subtle to the gross. Udana brings energy up the koshas from the gross to the subtle. And vyana brings about circulation through all the 5 koshas and is responsible for their differentiation. On a more specific level, the physical body or annamaya kosha is mainly under the rule of apana vayu. Apana vayu governs the information, building up and destruction of the physical body. The pranamaya kosha or vital body, is mainly under the rule of Prana Vayu. The Manomaya Kosha or mental sheath is mainly under the rule of Udana Vayu. Udana Vayu governs speech and the expressive power of the mind. The Vijnana Maya Kosha or intelligence sheath is mainly under the rule of Vyana Vayu. Vyana Vayu brings about the expansion of intelligence. The Ananda Maya Kosha or bliss sheath is mainly under the rule of Samana. Samana Vayu brings about peace, equanimity and bliss in Samadhi. So there are 5 primary forces, pranic force fields, known as Pancha Prana, which operate in the physical body at all times. Prana Shakti, the one sustaining force, assumes these 5 fields to enable the body to accomplish its various functions. Thus prana is experienced differently in different parts of the body. These 5 forces also act on subtle levels, influencing and in turn being influenced by the mind and consciousness. The seers identified these 5 pranas as prana, apana, samana, udana and vyana. The 5 pranas are also known as prana vayus. The term vayu is derived from the root va, meaning motion or that which flows. So the prana vayus represents the inherent quality of motion, which energizes every action from secretion of the digestive juices to the movement of the hand. They flow through all elements, organs and the mind. The 5 pranas are responsible for creation and existence at the individual level. In human beings, they are created during the first 4 months of development in the womb. During the first and second month, the fetus lives on the prana of the mother. By the 3rd month, the fetus has its own battery installed. By the 4th month, the 5 physical pranas become active with the information of the body, and the soul enters the new body as a result of this pranic activity. The 5 pranas maintain the balance between the physical and mental levels. Their physical locations are relevant in regard to the functions of the body. However, they function more homogeneously in the subtle levels of mind and consciousness, where their distinction is qualitative rather than physical. In this context, the yogic texts often differ in their description of the 5 pranas and their locations. This should not confuse the practitioner. One should remember that the energy body is comprehended in the realm of experience, where the boundaries are neither black or white. The key is to continue honing one's own experience. Sthula Prana. Prana is the first of the Pancha Pranas. This prana is also known as Sthula or gross prana, to differentiate it from the all-pervasive vital force. Sthula prana refers to the energy currents located in the thoracic region between the diaphragm and the base of the neck. It is the center of circulation of life energy. This force maintains the heart and lungs, and all the activities in the chest region, such as breathing, swallowing, and circulation of blood. When the rate of breath or heartbeat increases due to strenuous work, for instance, the level of Sthula prana also increases. This force is so essential that if its activity is obstructed or ceased for any reason, death may occur. Sthula prana is experienced in the form of light particles moving upwards in the chest region. Among the 5-fold pranas, it occupies the pivotal position and controls the other 4. Pranayama in particular raises the level of this prana and prevents congestion of blood in the arteries around the heart. When Sthula prana is strong, the heart does not become weak. One doesn't suffer from high or low blood pressure and thus lives longer. At the level of mind, prana is responsible for the intake of impressions and ideas. Prana energizes all the koshas and is active all the time. It pervades the region from anahata up to Vishuddhi chakra. When the force of prana is strong and flowing uninterruptedly, pure qualities of the heart, such as strength, courage, and greatness, are expressed. This prana is the energy by which one-pointedness of mind and intuitive knowledge can be experienced. It holds the intelligent energy of the soul, which abides in the heart. By enhancing this prana, the yogis reach the soul. In the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, it is said, "The intelligent soul is placed in prana, inside the prana. It pervades the prana, yet the non-intelligent are unaware of it." Prana itself has become the body of the chief master who controls it from the inside. Thus the soul is immutable, indestructible, and immortal. Prana is the guide and medium for realization of the soul. When meditating on the heart center, the identification with prana is most intense. One feels as if one has become prana. When the pathways of prana are not clear, the heart and lungs malfunction and there is poor intake of oxygen. At the mental level, one is not able to bring in positive impressions. It is difficult to concentrate or access intuitive knowledge. Apana. Apana is the second prana which operates in the pelvic region between the navel and the perineum. It sustains the functions of the kidneys, bladder, bowels, excretory, and reproductive organs. It is responsible for the expulsion of gas, wind, feces, urine, semen, and ova. It nourishes the fetus and expels it from the uterus at the time of birth. Apana is experienced in the form of light particles moving downwards from the navel to the perineum. Due to the presence of the earth and water elements in this region, apana is felt as a heavy force. Apana brings energy down through the koshas. Svadhisthana and Muladhara chakras are within the range of apana. By realizing apana, these chakras are also realized. The Kundalini force lies within the periphery of apana and it assists in the awakening of Kundalini, while prana helps in its upward ascent. Thus, Mahaprana is experienced in the region of apana. Control of apana is also control of the sexual instinct and the instilling of brahmacharya. At the mental level, apana removes negative thoughts and emotions. Indications of imbalance is that when apana is unbalanced, there is poor elimination, a feeling of being pulled down by gravity, depression, and negativity.